You are listening to The Black Landscape with Andrea Spearman, where Black excellence is always trending. Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Andrea Spearman, and this is The Black Landscape, where we engage with emerging and established Black leaders here in the San Francisco Bay Area. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to leave a 5-star review of the show on Apple Podcasts. I'm your host, and I'm a light-skinned Black woman with dark brown curly hair, currently out in an afro. And today I'm wearing my black and brown glasses and a burgundy sweatshirt that says, "Be you." Always be yourself, people. And we are celebrating June as Black Music Month, and we're doing something special for Oakland Black Music Week with new episodes from Black musicians, vocalists, and presenters that are in collaboration with the Because of Black Music I Am annual festival. More about that later. So today we are here with performer Nazelah Jamison. Please describe yourself to the people.
Hello, people. I am a dark-skinned woman with, I guess, long twists and tortoiseshell cat-eye glasses.
Ooh, come on, tortoiseshell. I love it. Yes, welcome.
Thank you.
Please share with our audience just briefly who you are as an artist. Like, what does it mean to be a poet, vocalist, and MC? These are a lot of things. So take us from the beginning. How did you get here?
Wow. How did I get here? Well, that's a long travel journal.
Oh, no.
So I've been writing since I was 8. I did a lot of things before I got here. So I was a writer, but that was kind of secondary. I've always been a performer. I was a ballet dancer for 6 years. Then I did children's theater. Then I'm from Philadelphia, so I went to the Philadelphia High School for Creative and Performing Arts for drama. Then I graduated high school and wanted to be a musician. And so I started playing in bands, and I was a musician for 10 years. I actually came to California to tour with the band. And
what instruments?
I play keyboard and sing. And so I toured with that band for 2 years. And then we came off the road and we parted ways. And I acted for a while, and then I walked into an open mic. I'd never read my poetry before. I'd only written it and let other people read it, but I performed everything else, but not poetry. And then I walked into an open mic somebody told me about and read my first, no, that's a lot. My first poetry reading was while I was still on tour. I would come home and I had a pot guy, because doesn't everybody have a pot guy? I had a pot guy, and my pot guy was also a performer or a poet. He actually was the first Lollapalooza poet. I won't mention him by name, but I love him. He is great. And I would let him read my poetry because he was a poet. And it was one day he was like, "You should perform this." And I'm like, "I'm not performing poetry. I am not a spoken word artist or whatever." And he was just like, "Well, I'm performing with my partner, and you gonna come and read that poem at our performance." And I was like, okay, and went back on tour.
I love how he voluntold you that's what you was gonna do.
Yeah, basically, I was like, you're funny. No, I'm not. And I left. I came back and I called him, and he came over, and he was like, "So Tuesday, I'm picking you up." I'm like, "No, you're not." And then he showed up and made me go. And I read the poem.
Wow.
And the people liked it. And I was like, "Oh my God, this is great." And then I went on tour again. And I didn't read again for a year because I was a musician. I was on tour. And then when I came off the road, I went to an open mic. And since I'd already read once, I had some confidence about reading my poetry. And I liked it and became immediately hooked like heroin. And I've been reading poetry ever since.
Wow. See, it's always that one friend.
Yeah. No.
That pushes you.
Yeah. No, he didn't even just push me. He just decided that's what I was doing, because when I went back on the road after he told me that I was reading, I was like talking to him in my mind, and I was like, "You're on crack. I'm not doing that." And then I honestly thought he would have forgotten about it because potheads. I was like, "Oh, you ain't gonna remember that." And I came back and he was like, "Yep, you doing it."
Right. Nope. It's on my calendar.
Yeah,
Go
basically.
pick up Nazelah.
Then I started reading poetry. I found a poetry slam. I guess the slam scene was dead for a while, and this guy named Charles Ehrlich came up from Long Beach and revived the San Francisco poetry slams. And so I found my way there, and I started slamming. And then he started a Berkeley slam, and I was in the East Bay, so I went up there and slammed. And then he helped me and two other women start the Oakland Poetry Slam. Mm-hmm. Which I did not run then, but it ended up running for like 10 years.
That was you. Okay. Uh-oh. I never knew. No, I just never knew that it was, at least one Black woman that was part of that. I had heard of it, but didn't know. And I was like, well, that's great to know now.
Yeah, 3 Black women started it. And awesome. Then, those two ran it for a long time, Nisa Ahmad and Sonia Whittle. And then there was somebody in between for like a year. I had been emceeing at Berkeley for like 5 years. It's really hard to be creative when you're running something.
Yes.
Because all of your creative energy goes into organization and promotion and all that. And so I wasn't writing much, and I was ready to quit doing that ever. And I had a husband at the time, which I no longer do, who was just like, nobody's running the Oakland Poetry Slam. You should run it. And I was like, you are more than welcome to do it yourself.
Right. Another person trying to volunteer you what's
exactly.
Going. Like, hold on, y'all.
I don't like that. I'm not a fan. But he was just like, you should do it. And if nobody picks it up, there won't be an Oakland Poetry Slam. And I was actually fine with that. But then he talked me into it, and I ended up like co-producing and hosting that for like 10 years. And then I was free. And I'm not really free because I still MC the Berkeley Poetry Slam once a month because they won't let me go. So
happily they won't let you go.
No, I retired in like 2014. We basically gave the baby away when we divorced, and I was like, I'm free. And then all the babies were just like, you're not going to be around. You're the only one that's around, Nazi, blah, blah, blah. So I placated people, and I was like, fine.
Well, with all these, different hats that you're wearing, which are you bringing to, would you say, to this week, this Black Music Week?
Little tiny bit of vocals and poetry. So I do too much on a continuous basis.
You're talking to the queen of doing too much.
I do MC and perform with a private concert company called So Far.
Yeah, okay. Yes, heard of them. Yeah. I like what they do.
I've been performing with them for like 6 or 7 years, and I've been MCing their concerts for probably a year or two. My friend just got back. She was out of town for 3 years, and she got back, and she's a vocalist. So now we're about to have an a cappella vocal group. Yeah, too much, too many things. And whenever I have free time, I just feel the need to fill it up with more stuff because,
Yeah.
But this week I actually work with a loop pedal when I perform for the concert company because music. I'm generally the only poet. And so I like to kind of segue so that you don't go from like, music and vibing and tunes to me telling you about yourself. I like to segue. Some music.
I feel like that's the best. You have a little back right, and then you have the instrumental while you talking to people.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you about yourself. So I've been working with the loop pedal and creating like harmonies and melody on loop and then performing poetry over it.
Nice. I'm looking forward to that. How did you connect with, Valerie and Audacious for the Because of Black Music Festival and their group?
Audacious used to be a slam poet.
Yep.
She's actually an amazing writer and poet. So we connected through poetry many moons ago. And then Val, I've actually performed with Val. She's one of the most amazing vocalists I know.
Yes.
for the nonprofit that I work for, she's written songs for us that we perform on stage. And she and I collaborated and performed at San Francisco City Hall's culmination ceremony for their Black History Month this year.
Yes, I love that. Collaboration is the name of the game.
And the Bay Area art scene is really good for that. That's the one thing I really fell in love with when I came here, is that there's so much cross contamination. Like there's hell of like, everybody I met, it's just like dancers who wanted, like I've performed poetry with dancers, and there's been visual artists who like painted or drew behind the poets. And, there's always music and poetry. But like things are always like, it's just one big collaboration. I love it. It's an art orgy. I love that.
An art orgy. Wow. I don't think I've heard that used before, but yes, the Bay Area can definitely be that.
Well, we all get together and we just collaborate all over each other, and everybody's happy. It's an orgy.
I'm gonna have to mark this episode adult. Rated R adult content. Well, yes, with the scope of that, like there's so much creativity, so much artistry that happening. When you create your music, your sound, your spoken word, your poetry, how would you define that? Like, do you see yourself as like a soul when you're doing the music portion? Is it soul music, funk, classical, R&B, or undefinable?
I would say soul. I would say it's more soul when I'm actually creating music. I've played all kinds of music. Like when I was in Philly, I was in a funk band, my friend's original funk band, but then also, you play cover bands because cover bands make money. And so one of the cover bands, it's very interesting. It's a different time. This was in the 80s because I'm old. And
lies. Seasoned is what you are.
We played in my friend's funk band, which is Black people. And then my best friend is a drummer. She came out here with me. And then our friend Mike, rest in peace, he died a couple of years ago. He's a bass player. And basically we had a friend, this white guy who was a saxophonist who played with the funk band, but then we'd also do covers with that funk band. And he played sax. And then he brought us over to his other band, which was like a horns sort of big band kind of band. And it was like a 10-piece band, and the three of us were the rhythm section and provided all the R&B. So that was interesting.
Come on, rhythm section.
Yeah, we sang all the Rick James and James Brown songs. But I've played all sorts of music. It's a weird thing too, because whoever I happen to be with that I like, I'm doing whatever they're doing. So my best friend in Philly was like, she's an amazing vocalist and drummer. So I sang with her and played in bands and sang with her. Out here, one of my really good friends is a punk. She plays punk. So I wrote a punk song for her. Like I wrote a song for her band because I was influenced by her.
That's good. That's good to have that transitional ability.
It's weird though, because I rarely write songs by myself. You know what I mean? But when I'm with other people, I end up doing whatever it is they're doing because I get all inspired and I'm like, ooh, and then I write songs.
Yeah, that's the community aspect.
Yeah.
A lot of people thrive, by being in that community and being inspired by others. Some thrive by, trying to work through things alone, but it all comes out to be great music and great in entertainment and enjoyment and fulfillment, right?
Collaborations, orgies. This is what I'm saying.
Right. Tell the people where they can find you and where you'll be this week.
Oh, you can find me a lot of places. And of course, on Friday or Saturday, I am performing at the Because of Black Music I Am Festival.
Awesome. Yes. Yes. You were in so many places.
It's ridiculous. I'm actually looking it up for you because I didn't expect that question, so I didn't study. Dang it. I thought it was a multiple choice, and you're like asking me like...
No, these are in-depth questions. These interviews are story-driven narratives.
Dang it. It's not a multiple choice.
It's not a quiz. It's an essay.
Giving me these like finals exams and whatnot. I'm also in school.
Oh, okay.
Because too much, why wouldn't I do too much?
And then also let the people know where they can find you. Where's your social handles?
My Instagram is SuperNaz, your super friend. That's SUPERNAZ _ your super friend. Because you have to have superhuman abilities to be in all the places that I make myself be at the same time.
Absolutely. You absolutely do. Well, thank you.
And today is my birthday.
Yeah. It's your birthday?
Yes.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. It's your birthday. There's so many versions of the happy birthday song.
Yeah, there's many versions.
The gospel version. There's the Stevie Wonder. There's the regular plain Jane. Happy birthday. No. But us. We always try 50. To go, girl. It's your birthday. Go, girl. It's your birthday. We have, us Black folks. We pick and choose how we feeling that day to celebrate you. Well, thank you so much for chatting with us today.
Right on. It's a pleasure.
Yeah. And so all of these links will be in our show notes. Tap in and support Black creativity. And we're going to see y'all this week outside. Outside in these streets.
In these streets.
So thank all of you out there for listening and supporting another season. Again, leave a review of the show on Apple Podcasts or in the comments of our social media. Always want to hear community feedback. This has been another episode of The Black Landscape with Andrea Spearman, where Black excellence is always trending.